On today's show, Nico Harrison said that he thinks it's more of a risk to not do the Kyrie Irving trade than to do it. What do we think about that? And let's talk about Justin Holiday and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
How about 10 Mavericks, NBA champions? Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
Thank you, Mavs fans.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show and making Locked On Mavs your first listen each and every day. We are free and available on all podcast platforms, including YouTube. But the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day and to comment anything below. Let us know what you think about the Kyrie Irving trade and the risk of it as of right now. Also, let us know your thoughts on halftime weddings. The holdover from yesterday.
I'm all out on all halftimes.
And what you think about Justin Holiday? We're going to talk about him today. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code LOCKEDON. That's prizepicks.com, promo code Locked On. And joining me, as always, my co-host, writer, contributor at Mavs.com, the risky renegade, the one more thing king. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
So yeah, we're gonna talk about Justin Holiday at the end, but somebody shot me. I don't know. It's either in the YouTube comments or a tweet at me or something, and said,
So many ways.
Why are we the team that always gets the worst brother? And because we got Kostas and
Jaleel Cousins.
Now we're getting Justin Holiday, who obviously has Drew and Aaron. I mean, I guess Justin versus Aaron is a conversation, I guess, but
it's definitely
Justin's been
the worst one than Drew, though.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway,
Seth Curry.
Oh crap, this could go on
Curry,
further.
Kostas Antetokounmpo, Jaleel Cousins was DeMarcus Cousins' brother.
Tim Hardaway Jr. No, we're not doing.
No, that's not dad. That's not dad's son. Yeah. Justin or Holiday. There's got to be more brothers. Let us know in the comment section what worst brother have the Mavericks had in a pairing, because I'm sure Campaign
has an older brother. Because we just kidding, guys.
Let's talk about that. But let's talk about the presser. We'll talk about we're both in attendance to the presser of Kyrie Irving and Markieff Morris. He was there as well.
Markieff really didn't have to be there. It was just
the third wheel of all third wheels in that press conference.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
And so these things work like this. There's a ton of media there. I mean, usually you go into a pregame presser, and I usually don't go to them because I don't get a ton out of them personally. But you go in there, there's 10 people, Mac, like for the most part.
Barely.
There was 50, 75 people.
Well, listen, we joke about it. When Cowboy season ends, the cavalry comes in because it's like the floodgates open and all the local media comes back to Mavs games when Cowboy season ends. So it's like the combo of Cowboy season ending, later than normal, back a few weeks ago, and then with Kyrie.
And so there's tons of media people in there. And so you get to ask some of the big questions that you've been wondering about the trade, about, what Kyrie Irving thinks coming in. And they did the introductory press conference when they're on the road, but this was the first time they got to do it in front of Dallas media. And so, like I said, there was a bunch of people in there. And for us guys that go there and ask questions and things, the whole time I'm thinking, all right, the whole day I'm thinking, you get one question. What's your one question you want to ask these guys? And for me, I started thinking about the risk of this trade and thinking about, all right, we've talked a lot about the risk. When the trade first happened, you can go back and watch our reaction. We talked about the risk. The episode when we got to collect our thoughts and talk about it later that day, we talked about the risk. We talked about the risk of this trade, not so much on the court. We see the merits on the court. I don't think it's a risk once Kyrie gets onto the court, but he can be a free agent this offseason. He has also been a flight risk for some of his past teams, Cleveland, Boston, and Brooklyn. He's left and has left in various terms. He's also missed times in the season for various other reasons. So I was curious what they thought and what Nico Harrison and Kyrie would say about the risk. So I asked them. Nick Angstadt, Locked On. This is a question for Kyrie and for Nico, if I can. What would you guys say to fans and to people that call this trade a really, really big risk for the Mavericks?
I don't see any risk involved at all. I've known Kyrie for a long time. I know his core. I know the type of person he is. I think anybody who's ever watched him play basketball knows the type of basketball player he is. So I don't see the risk at all. I actually see the risk in not doing it.
Touche.
Touche.
But no, I'm appreciative of our long-lasting relationship and him knowing my family very well. And now it's just about me going out and proving it to my teammates and doing what I do and control what I can control.
We've talked about the relationship between Kyrie and Nico Harrison and how it goes back. It goes way back to like when he was in AAU, when he was a teenager, when he was 16, 17 years old, that Nico Harrison knows his family. I don't think that's something that the Brooklyn Nets have. And I think it's something about this whole idea of risk around this trade that I don't think a lot of people are talking about right now.
Yeah, I mean, one, great question. Two, this was an incredible answer by Nico.
I thought so too.
I mean, one of the like best moments for him as a GM was this answer, because there were a bunch of different routes you could take this as a GM, and not only did he, I mean, you can't, like, you got to double down. I mean, you made the deal. You're confident in it. But
to be honest, I think that this is a bad, like, I don't think this is a good trade for us. Like,
yeah, but there's also, Nico's awkward. Like, I mean, we know, I mean, just how the whole thing like opened up, he's just an awkward dude, but like, I interviewed him, a one-on-one in San Francisco, when we went to the playoffs, and we had him on the Pod Media Day, and he's super, super nice guy.
Yeah.
But he could have handled that question in like an awkward, like laughing, way. But the dude was serious. Yes. And the guy was just like, no, like, I know him. I know this guy. And there was a subtle thing Kyrie said earlier in his presser about his relationship with Nico. The relationship part was like a common thread of the whole, introductory press conference there. But he said this about Nico. He said, it's great to see him in a new position, a powerful position. Grateful we can make something happen here in Dallas. So he's talking like he's just one of the guys. It's like, man, I'm happy for his promotion. He's in a powerful role.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Like, can you imagine this guy? Like
Paul Rudd. Like, who would have thought?
Yeah.
But he's like, he's in a powerful position now. Like, and that part of that plays into in Nico's mind, the lack of risk, because he's like, I know him at his core. Like, he was asked about later on too. And he talked about Kyrie's core, but also how he's evolving as a human being and all this stuff. So yeah, I thought it was it was a show of confidence. His answer he gave you, of confidence to everybody, for the fan base, organization, everything. And it was a vote of like, I got you no matter what, to Kyrie Irving in that moment of, and then not only is it, no, we didn't see it as risk, but we saw as a risk not to do it. Like, that was an incredible line by him. Like,
I think he had that one ready. I think he had that one locked.
I don't think so, man. I think that's awesome.
I think but I think he thought about it, right? Because I think he, like you said, a little bit awkward, but I think the awkwardness of Nico Harrison makes him more approachable and makes him more connectable, right? Like, I think that's actually a skill that he has, even though maybe he doesn't like do it on purpose. It's just maybe the person he is.
As much as Donnie got flack for his for the job stuff, Donnie was a super nice dude, too, that would stop you and talk to you. Like, we have been blessed in that sense of both of the guys, Donnie, now Nico, both super nice, approachable guys.
But Donnie Nelson was more like, it seemed like everything he said was to the point, direct, like. And then Nico Harrison, there's a little bit of like, we felt like he was so awkward when he first started, because he had never done a press conference before. He had sat and watched a whole bunch of them as a partner of these players, but had never really participated in one himself at any level. So coming up, let's talk about that angle of it, though. The idea that it's more of a risk to not do it. What does that mean for the Dallas Mavericks? What does that mean for what the Mavericks are thinking about Luka, the pressure that they felt under that? Let's talk about the not doing it aspect of it coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. You can check out Prize Picks right now. Use the promo code LOCKEDON to get a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. If you put down $100, they'll give you $100 to use. Let's pick Cavs versus Sixers. This is a good game. Donovan Mitchell, more or less 25.5 points. Isaac, more or less?
More.
Give me more on that one. And then let's do Joel Embiid, 30.5 against the Cavs. More or less against Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley, in all them.
Under.
Give me less on the 30.5 points. You can do that. And let's do James Harden 19.5. Give me more on James Harden on that one.
Under.
You can Isaac says under. I'm going to go over 19.5. Put down $100. I can win $225. I can even hit the flex play or the power play and go 5 times my money. There's all kinds of different payouts that you can do on this. It's fast and easy. Go check it out. It's prizepicks.com, promo code locked on. All right, Isaac Harris, thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen each and every day and every post game. We will be here all throughout the through the playoffs. We will do an All-Star game, like post game episode. We will be here through the All-Star break and all that. So 5 days a week and then every single post game. All right, let's talk about this quote from Nico Harrison. We both loved the quote. Thought that it was really interesting that he said, "I think that not doing the Kyrie trade was more of a risk." To me, I listened to that quote in here. It was more of a risk to not do it because of the position they were in with Luka Doncic. At this point in the season, we kept saying they got to make a move, or they got to make a move this summer. They have to make a move this offseason. You cannot waste time with Luka Doncic. He's too good, and there's too many options out there for star players right now. And so not doing this trade was more of a risk because that's one wasted year of Luka Doncic, basically.
No, that's exactly what it is. And it's we've talked about this before of, hey, the whole, if you want to put the angel on one side, the devil on one side of your shoulder and of the whole, saving your assets for the second star thing, there's no guarantee that you're going to get the second star, either. Like the star, you got to wait for a second star to actually hit the market. Then you got to actually win the bidding. Then you got to convince the guy to sign there long term or want to be there and all that stuff. So it's all three of those things have to line up perfect for you to get a star. And for him, he looked at the opportunity and it's all right, we have a guy right now, and think of it in Nico's mind that I know his family.
Yeah,
I has a personal relationship with him. He's won a title. He's one of the best players in the world. And he likes Dallas. You can go back to last year, when they were showing interest and all that stuff that Dallas was, Shams or somebody was talking about how, Dallas is one of the teams he's interested in, all this stuff. So all that stuff's lining up, and you've been wanting another ball handler, creator next to Luka, all this stuff. So you have all that stuff lining up, and then you have obviously we're not talking about all the cons, but I'm just saying all the stuff that's positive in Nico's mind.
Yeah.
Then you understand how the risk in his mind is man, it's more risky not to do this thing because we don't know when a second star is going to hit the market. We don't know if we can win that. We might be sitting here 3 more years saying, guys, we're just looking for that all-star.
Saving up our assets. Not instead of plan powder, it's plan it's planned stockpile, right? It's planned stockpile for that. Yeah. We just keep doing it over and over again. And so Nico looked at it now and said,
Dallas is going to get a seat at the table.
They had a seat at the table for Kyrie Irving. They could get this trade done. And so he said, let's just do it. This is an all-star starter. This is a guy that has won a title that checks a ton of boxes. Another ball handler, a guy that can carry the offense when Luka's off the court. So many different, competitor, all that kind of stuff. Now, there's many risks in this trade for sure, which is why they were able to get it done. But that's why I wanted to ask him.
Because he's weighing, in his seat, he's weighing of, yes, it is really risky. It's a risk in itself to trade for a guy like Kyrie with all the off the court stuff, and there could be another thing right around the corner. But it's also a big risk that we could be three years from now. Luka never got a second star, and he's on halfway out the door.
And we're doing Luka Doncic video tributes.
Yeah, so it's that's the type of risk that we're just speaking we're in Nico's mind right now. So this isn't.
Well, that's what he told us. That's what he told us, and I think that's what he meant, and I found that really interesting. Kyrie's angle of it, of this answer, though, was he said, "Touche." I'm just really happy to be here with that, and
I think he was impressed by the answer too.
There is no risk for Kyrie, I don't think. I think that somebody else will give him a deal, right? If he goes in free agency this offseason, there are 4 teams who are interested in him.
Oh, yeah.
This summer. Well, he'll go find a deal somewhere. But there's rumors of that the Lakers would still do a deal this summer, and the Suns would do all this sign and trade, and all kinds of stuff would happen. So I don't think there's much risk for him, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he's going to get close to some money desires that he's wanting to. So
yeah,
I think he's going to.
If everything goes right, and I expect everything to go right with him, he's play the rest of the season out, right? For the rest of the season, play the rest of the season out, get the money, and then see what happens. I'm more if I'm a Mavs fan, I'm more concerned about going into next season or even the season after that, like sometime in the season after that, than I am about the rest of this season, right? Like I wouldn't be concerned about it. Would you?
Yeah. I mean, I think in any Kyrie relationship or agreement,
this is a good point right here.
Then you got, I don't know if you're ever worry free, but my
guy starts just tweeting out images, like just cartoons and like all just memes, and you're just
okay.
Like,
let's combine this with another answer he got.
He didn't want to go down the meme route.
I think it was Nui that asked him about, the elephant in the room, the contract, being here long term.
This is a great question too.
And Kyrie was like, hey, like out of respect, I've been in this, it's draining. Just out of respect to everything. Basically, like, let's table this thing. Like, don't ask me the rest of the year, all that. But he did say this. He's like, and that's kind of how he said it. He's like, but I'll say this. He's like, from the start, from the moment I've landed in Dallas, it's been nothing but a warm embrace. And he referenced that familiar, I hate this word.
Familiarity.
There you go. Of relationships that I don't know if that was just a focus, because it's like anti-Brooklyn.
It's Nico's thing.
In that, but like relationships and from the moment he stepped down in Dallas and everything. So that's going to be the thing, we're going to hear, everybody's going to talk about this. Brian Windhorst is going to talk about this about
it's not going away. Times. Kyrie can ask us. It's not going away.
I think local media asking him so much can, hopefully everybody can back up off of that. There's no sense of asking him over and over again.
Do they have to?
Do they have to? I mean, what are you trying to get out of it if you just continue asking him about it?
That's the thing. But for Kyrie to ask media to not ask a question is interesting to me.
Because you can only answer the same question over and over again with the same answer. It's like he's going to wait. Everybody's going to speculate about everything of what teams and Phoenix and LA and all this stuff. And then, that's, yeah. And then the playoff run will determine a lot. If they end in the first round, everybody will say he's gone. If they go, deep run, it's like, oh my gosh, what will happen? And,
with Brunson, it was like the opposite. We were like, okay, well, if they lose in the first round, he'll stay. If they go far, then he left. It was so weird how opposite that one was.
Yeah.
From this. Anything else in the press conference stand out to you?
Oh yeah, there was a bunch of different things. He called Josh Green a young Aussie king. I thought that was hilarious. I asked him a question about the what makes a duo. I'm working on something about him and Luka being a duo, and I was like, what makes a duo great? And, one, I thought it was a great leadership response by him, of saying, I don't know about that phrase. I'm kind of trying to, he used it before when talking about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. He's like that duo up in Boston. So I kind of like doubled down on the duo line there. But he also said this, he's like, we are obviously talking about him and Luka, and I didn't really see this get any like traction. So I might tweet it out because I think Mavs fans really like this quote. He said, we obviously are a force together to be reckoned with. That is the exciting future I see alongside him as a running mate, as a duo. And so if you are pro Kyrie Luka duo in Dallas, a line like that, you like hearing from Kyrie.
I need to know what future means to Kyrie. That's what I need to know.
I know.
This is why when he first got traded to the Mavs, we said, I'm not going to spend a ton of time going through his answers and trying to figure out what he said. If it's plain and it's clear, we'll talk about it, right? But if it's cryptic, then I don't know.
Let me do a couple more quicker responses here. He was asked about what advice he would give to Luka, and he was talking about what things have been passed down to him, and he said this. He said, when you get the opportunity to play with special people, cherish it and don't take it for granted. And I don't know, I kind of like that line for him. And hey, Luka, cherish playing with me. All right. He asked. Asked.
You liked that line from him?
I actually did. Yeah. Because honest. I mean, well, to be honest, what I think he is saying from that, I think that was a learning moment for him because of how much he wanted out of LeBron's shadow. That I think now he's regretting a little bit of like, man, I think I took that for granted a little bit of playing with a guy to LeBron's caliber. I think he's even talked about. I could be wrong on record before about. Man, yeah, I think I might have taken that for granted. So I kind of seen that as
he just asked out of Brooklyn playing with Kevin Durant. So
yeah, I don't.
Okay, I don't know about that one. I'm holding strong to my rule. I'm not going to try to read into what he said.
He talked about the Dallas crowd, how he's excited to play in front of them. I thought it was cool, and how every time he came in as an East team, they'd play on the weekend, and he's like, the community seemed ready for him to play.
An interesting comment that I can't remember when he said this, but he's excited to play in Dallas because the airport is so close to every team in the NBA. Because East Coast, they have to if they have to fly like Brooklyn to LA, that's like a 3.5 hour flight sometimes, and like they have to do that, and instead it's like a shorter flight to go from Dallas. And like he was excited about that, and he's excited about the weather. I found that really fascinating as somebody that covers these guys.
All right, my last two things real quick. He was asked about his like finishing around the basket. Two different questions about that.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them was just fascinating of just talking about being a young kid, playing with both hands, and then how kids used to like make fun of him for the weird, awkward. He literally said for his weird, awkward layups and finishes. And now that's like what he's amazing at.
Thing.
And if you watch one full answer, look at his answer to Dorothy Gentry on when she asked him, what's the why behind who you are and like what you do? I thought that was a cool peek into the world of Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, if you want to peek into Kyrie Irving, that was a great question from Dorothy. Coming up, let's talk about Justin Holiday. Let's talk about what the Mavs are getting in Justin Holiday, what we expect from him, and then maybe we'll talk about LaMarcus Aldridge and why the Mavs worked him out. We'll talk about that next. But before we do, let me tell you about Built Bar. It's a protein bar. It tastes like a candy bar. You can fall completely head over taste buds for the latest Built box. That's what it says on their website right now. The Brownie Batter Puff is my favorite one. They also have a double chocolate bar. They're all great. Tons of protein in the bar. They have a maple donut one. That's a new flavor. I haven't seen that one. Maple donut, caramel apple. Those are new flavors. Go check those out. They have all kinds of different stuff up all the time. And the macros on it are incredible. That new maple donut one, 150 calories, 17 grams of protein, 6 grams of sugar. That's it. They're delicious. They're all delicious. 6 grams of sugar. The caramel apple one only has 4 grams of sugar. That's like unheard of. That is literally like
it's like one Skittle.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's like 1% of a Mountain Dew, like literally. So go check it out, built.com. You can also get them at Sam's Club and Walmart now. You got a box at a Sam's Club recently in Dallas, so you can check that out wherever those are sold. And try them at built.com. All right, Isaac Harris, let's talk about the buyout guys. So Stanley Johnson was waived today. The Mavs could still add one more buyout guy. Let's start with this. The Mavs could still get another buyout guy. They could waive Markieff Morris. They could waive Frank Ntilikina. They could waive Theo Pinson. They could waive any of those 3 guys because they are all on expiring deals, and they could sign a buyout guy if they wanted to. So it's still not out of the question that they won't sign somebody else. I don't expect them to. Markieff Morris maybe. Markieff Morris maybe is the one that I would look at because he hasn't played. He told Callie Kaplan he's not in basketball shape right now because he was basically played out of the Nets rotation. And if you listen to our crossover with Adam Armbrecht, he said he basically became a backup 5, and it's kind of hard to be a backup 5 in the NBA when you're like 6'9" and haven't been a big man really in your career. And so maybe over the All-Star break, he comes back in better shape. We'll see what happens with Markieff Morris then. But I think that would be the guy that I would expect to get a buyout from the Mavs. So the Mavs can go get another buyout guy if they decide to.
Yeah, I don't know what I haven't asked around enough to know exactly like why he isn't playing besides just like being out of shape. I mean, I hope it's just like being out of shape because then he can get in shape and play. I hope it's not like an injury or he's just like, older and like all this stuff. So that would be a cool, get ready for it. That would be a cool free agent addition, to the Mavs. If maybe they're just like holding him out for like a secret weapon. But no, I mean, you said it. Markieff Morris, they could waive Frank. I don't see them waiving Theo Pinson. So
Not that he's getting closing minutes now. Him and Frank getting closing minutes the other night against the Timberwolves. But Markieff Morris, he's not exactly the type of player. Like, if he's in shape and comes back and plays well, like, he's not exactly the type of player that the Mavs need, but he is a type of player that the Mavs need. Like, a bigger guy that can guard some bigger guys, like some bigger wings.
If he was fully healthy and in shape, I think he could get some minutes. That's the thing. It's like, if he's healthy and they're just not playing him, then I could totally see like a buyout thing and he goes and joins another team. But if it's truly like he's ramping back up to get into shape and they see a role for him, then yeah, he could stay on the team.
And remember, Jason Kidd was with him in the 2020 like playoff run for the Lakers where they won the title in the bubble. And I
forgot he was on that team.
Markieff Morris played all 21 games for that team, averaged 18 minutes, started a couple of games, shot 42% from three in that run. Now that was 3 years ago now. So I mean, that's a while and a lot can happen in 3 years. But
does that ring count though? I mean,
but Jason Kidd, but I say all that because Jason Kidd has had experience with him and knows him and can see like if he's lost a step or if he can be effective and all that kind of stuff.
He also has experience with JaVale.
Let's talk. He also, apparently his twin brother has experience with Luka. Did you guys know that?
So keep going.
Justin Holiday. The Mavericks are reportedly signing Justin Holiday as a buyout candidate. They waived Chris Silva. That's been official. It has not been official. They've signed Justin Holiday. So the same way that the Terrence Ross news, where the Mavs reportedly signed Terrence Ross and then they didn't, and now he's reportedly signed to the Suns. Justin Holiday is reportedly signed with the Mavericks as a buyout guy. He played in Atlanta this year. He fell out. So I asked Brad Rowland of Locked On Hawks about him, and he said he fell out of the rotation by January, but he's a useful vet, a good locker room guy. He will execute well on defense, which when he said that phrase, I was like, the Mavs just need a couple guys to execute well. Can a couple guys just execute well? He said he's not a stopper though, so you're not bringing him in as like, oh, he's your starter and like stopper and all that. He's mostly just a catch and shoot guy on offense. Brad Rowland said they tried to run some like stuff where he was coming off the move and things like that. The Mavs won't ask him to do any of that stuff, so I don't think that's a big deal. Tony East of Locked On Pacers reached out to me actually, and he said this is one of my favorite quotes of a Locked On NBA host. Justin Holiday, congrats. He said, congrats. Justin Holiday is the worst good player in the NBA. He's still a good player, but he's like the worst of the good players. So I think that's good. The Mavs need at least one more good player, and if Justin Holiday can still be a good player, even if he's the worst good player in the NBA, he's at least a good player. Tony said he's a medium defender, better team defender than on ball because of size, which tracks. He's 6'6", 7-foot wingspan. He's small. He's like smaller, so he's not going to guard bigger guys, but he's got pretty decent feet still. He's about to be 34, and last 3 or 4 years, he's shot 38% from three. So three and like kind of D. That's what the Mavs are getting in Justin Holiday.
Kind of. Yeah, I mean it's a depth thing, right? It's looking at the Frank and Theo minutes and saying, all right, can we upgrade those a little bit to a Justin Holiday? A little bit bigger defender, a little bit longer wingspan there. I don't know. Frank's wingspan is pretty long, but you look at his two Indiana years back a few years ago. He shot 40%, 39%, from three, and those. All they're asking him to do is like, hey, play some defense and stand in the corner and hit an open shot. So, you're not asking him to create. You're not asking him to do. I mean, you're not even asking him to do as much as like Reggie and Josh do. It's just like, can you give us 15, 16, 17 minutes off the bench, stand in the corner, hit a corner three, and play some serviceable defense? That's what they're asking. I think he can do that. I don't think I'm not sitting there saying put him in the finals because Justin Holiday, but that's the type of player that we wanted them to add, and we thought we were getting in Terrence Ross, and you're still getting a form of that in Justin Holiday.
No. Tell them what we said. We both predicted they'll get Justin Holiday when we talked about buyout candidates. We predicted that they would get him, but I think it's a solid ad, right? The Mavericks wanted to hit a single in the buyout market. I think a Stanley Johnson type move, which could still happen, maybe, but. Yeah. That would be going for, that's like, you're like running for second on a double. Like you're trying a little bit and you could get thrown out because that move could really.
He just can't shoot.
He can't shoot. He can't shoot at all. So like that one has maybe a higher ceiling, but definitely a lower floor as a buyout move. Like
people just get obsessed with the age and just say Justin Holiday's 33 and Stanley Johnson bigger body, like
26.
I would have been about Stanley Johnson, joining the team, sure, bigger body guy and all that, but I don't think it's that big of a difference between if we're arguing about Stanley Johnson and Justin Holiday, then my God, touch grass.
I think Justin Holiday is a better chance to be solid for the Mavs. The Mavs just need one more solid player. I mean, you've seen the rotations last couple of games. That's why we're like, can Markieff Morris just be solid if he gets back in shape? Can Justin Holiday just be solid and come in? So,
speaking of solid player, what about this workout they got coming up?
The Dallas Mavericks have reportedly worked out LaMarcus Aldridge. He's 37 years old. He last played April 10th, 2022. And he actually had some decent scoring stretches last year with the Brooklyn Nets.
Sell me on this.
No, I'm not. But I reached out to the Brooklyn Nets, the Locked On Nets guys. And
I was like, Sean Marks?
I reached out to Adam and Doug on Locked On Nets. And
oh, come on. They're just going to laugh.
Doug Norrie said, he can't play defense or offense, but at least he's old and slow.
Does any host have any good thing to say about any player that has left their team?
No, Tony East had great stuff to say about Justin Holiday.
Really? The worst good player?
The worst good. He still said he was a good player. He's the worst good player, but at least he's a good player. But Adam Arbrecht said that he'll hit some elbow jumpers in his sleep. So he'll always be able to hit that elbow jumper, like forever. He'll be able to hit that shot. But is that what the Mavs need right now? Like, no, it's not.
If you thought the DMs were hot before, wait till Aldridge takes minutes away from somebody.
Yeah, so I think this is they're doing an agent a solid here. This is what I think.
Yeah, I was shocked when that came across. When I was at the game, I was in the press box. We're all like, "What? Like, this is odd," And so, I mean, if they did sign him, I would expect it's just like a locker room presence guy. It would show you that hey, he played basketball down the street, and he's a Dallas guy.
That is a throwback inside joke.
But if they signed him, cool. Like it would worry me if they signed him and said, "Hey, you got this prominent role off the bench." He's not playing over the other guys, but
over any of the 5 Mavs centers.
Well, I don't act like I know that answer.
So
Frank and Theo closed the end.
We'll see. Guys, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Go comment below about the buyout guys. Comment below about the risk of Kyrie Irving trade. And then go make your second listen, Locked On NBA Game to Game. Every moment, every top performance, every result. Locked On NBA Game to Game covers every game across the league. Go check it out on the Locked On NBA YouTube channel as well as the podcast feed. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom!